What is happening, y'all? Welcome to the Arrington Gavin Show, your go to spot for sharp insights, bold opinions, and unfiltered takes on the biggest stories of the day. Whether it's politics, sports, pop culture, or the latest buzz, look, we're diving deep and keeping it real. So do me a favor, kick back, stay informed, and get ready to join the conversation. That's right, my friends. I hope you all are having a great day today. Thank you as always for taking 1 hour of your time to tune into the Arrington Gavin show. As you see, I got the headphones on a little differently. Hold on, let me change this up real quick. There we go. I look like a freaking I'm ready for a safari ride over here. Look, I know I kept my little look on because I just got back from golfing with some friends, and yes, I do golf from time to time. I'm very much early beginners, very early beginners, but I had a damn good day today. I had a damn good day today. I was we just hit the driving range. We're working on getting very comfortable now. Like there's I'm gonna just say there's like five of us, maybe five, six of us in one group, and one to two of them are like pretty decent regulars. But the rest of us, we got some work to do. Now, I got my clubs, I'm seeing which angle works. And cuz one thing about golf, man, golf is so much detailed technique, right? And it's consistency. It's consistency, it's consistency, it's consistency. And so and so without that consistency, you kind of slack. Like every time we meet, because we meet weekly. We meet once, we meet once a week, and so depending on our schedules, that once a week might turn out to be once a month. We're a few of us are married. Some of us in the within the group is married with children, and so the way the schedule works is different. Some of us are a few of us are work for ourselves. So hey, we it's difficult when it comes to the time management. So one thing I've always wanted to do was to get more familiar, get better when it comes to golfing, because one thing about golfing is, and this is this is a I would say networking. This is a tip for the business owners out there, for the entrepreneurs, for those who are small business owners that tune into the show. For those who are familiar with this program, I'm a small business owner, and I advocate for folks to f- find new ways to improve, find great tips that can be beneficial to help your business. And you know how passionate I am when it comes to networking. You know how passionate I am when it comes to networking. And so golfing is one of those sports that deals are made. They're one of their sports that is a great networking tool, and so much success is usually within golf. You have your sports that are like, okay, these are sports for those who probably can't afford to that probably don't make a lot, right? You have your sports that are the regular sports that maybe people with money get into. You have the sports that people that don't have a lot of money that get into, and vice versa. Golfing is a sport where there's usually, if you're golfing, okay, you either have a little pocket change, or you encounter somebody that is very hefty when it comes to the almighty dollar. And so with golfing, it's like, okay, that's a sport that I'm really trying to get familiar with. I have memberships. I have a membership to a country club in my area where I can, decompress, enjoy a great meal privately, enjoy a great cigar, enjoy a great drink. And but it also has access to a golfing range. And I'm like, I rarely go golfing. And so I need to improve. I need to do better when it comes to that. And so like I said, I meet with my friends once a week. We go golfing, and it's very therapeutic. It's a great way to just collab with the fellas, just enjoy some great some guy talk, all that good stuff. But I will say today was a good day. My very first time golfing on the range, man. I ordered like a bucket of 100 balls. When I tell you, I got to like ball number 64, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, why did I do the full 100? So now I know my level. I'll do like half and half, and I might have got a bucket of 50, right? And when I got that when I got that bucket of 50, I got to maybe 30. I'm like, whoo, it's been a while since I've been golfing. I'm already feeling it all up on my side. Cause see, with golfing, you use some muscles that you're not familiar with using when you're in the gym. So I'm like, oh man, I'm sore and this and that and the other. But long story short, it was a good day. Broke a good sweat, had a good workout, improved my form, improved my range. It was a great day. Towards the end, the fellas and I, we grabbed a couple of drinks, had a good time. It was great. So I commend those who are saying, I, should I pick up golfing? Look, if you have the time, if you have the finance, and you don't have to get expensive ass golf clubs, right? You don't have to get expensive golf clubs. You can find reasonable golf clubs, especially if you're a starter. But it doesn't have to always be golf. It can be anything else. It can be tennis. It can be I don't know, pickleball. It can be what else? What else? It can be swimming. It can be anything. It can really be anything. Just get involved when it comes to some form of a avenue that, for one, you can stay active doing it. It'll be a great networking tool. You can have your time to decompress. Like, you want to find all in one with it. So that is golfing to me. Uh I've gone way off the script here, but you are tuning into the Arrington Gavin Show, your go-to spot for sharp insights, bold opinions, and unfiltered takes on the biggest stories of the day, whether it's politics, sports, pop culture, or the latest buzz. Look, we're diving deep and keeping it real. So do me a favor, as always, kick back, stay informed, and get ready to join the conversation. All right, my friends. As always, as I mentioned earlier, thank you so much for taking the time out to your busy schedule for tuning into the Arrington Gavin Show. We got a lot of stuff tap for you within this next hour. A lot of great headlines. Before I move forward, I would like to acknowledge some of our supporters, like our friends over at Ingenious Gin. Ingenious Gin is a Black-owned, veteran-owned spirit company that, whether if it's a celebratory beverage, man, look, I highly recommend. Look, celebrate by enjoying something with pure sophistication, and that is Ingenious Gin. It is a rose gold gin, not the ordinary gin like a lot of folks are wondering, wait, isn't gin supposed to be clear? Well, this one is so unique, and I'm telling you, it is so great and smooth. Please do me a favor, go on your local visit your local Spirit or ABC stores, or go online at ingeniusgin.com. You have to be 21 or older to purchase. Please do me a favor, by the way, drink responsibly. Also, I'd like to shout out our good friends over at Priority Ford. Priority Ford, where you can find your go-to vehicle, and especially with great service. If you happen to be interested in a Ford brand, look, visit priorityford.com for more information. Or if you happen to be in the Hampton Roads area, go ahead and stop by their store location located off of Military Highway in Norfolk, Virginia. James Church and his amazing team out there always has my back when it comes to my new Ford vehicle, and they will have yours as well. So I want to thank those two companies for supporting the Arrington Gavin Show. I wouldn't be able to do it without them, and I truly appreciate that. Also, my friends, if you haven't yet, go ahead and follow the Arrington Gavin Show on our variety of social media platforms: Instagram, Blue Sky, X, formerly known as Twitter, as well as Substack. That's right, as well as Substack. So I would appreciate if you can do me a favor and follow us. We are growing our social media platforms. We don't have the time to speak about everything within the show, so then we share a little bit about it in our social media platform. So I truly appreciate if you can do me a favor and follow us. I truly appreciate that. Also, multiple ways you can tune into the Arrington Gavin Show. We air Monday through Fridays, weeknights, available on all digital and streaming platforms. You can watch us on the streaming platforms of our YouTube channel, The Arrington Gavin Show, as well as Rumble. And you can also watch us on the Goatverse TV network. GoatVerse TV app, if you can download it on your App Store, Google Play Store, Roku, as well as Amazon Fire. That's right, our audience is growing. We're so honored to be a part of the GoatVerse TV family, where you can catch up on some amazing content from the world of music, uh, sports, gaming, relationship talk, as well as politics and pop culture. That's when you have your guy right here. So again, I truly appreciate if you all support, download that, no charge. Check it out. It's so dope. And so let's see here. We're gonna head to a quick commercial break. And let me go ahead and let's go ahead and head to a quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere, my friends. You are tuning into the Arrington Gavin Show. We'll be right back after these commercial breaks.
What's up, y'all? Welcome now.
And we still in traffic.
I don't look familiar, do I? Not in this seat.
Hey, what's that you listening to?
Here to host today.
Hey, turn it up.
With me?
Yeah, this that new GoatVerse app. I got you.
So y'all want to know where the goats are? They're off on the sidelines.
Looking for fresh, relevant content wherever you go?
What was the name of that he said?
Introducing GoatVerse TV.
GoatVerse, that's what it's called.
The free streaming app that brings you the best podcasts, current events, and thought-provoking opinions all in one place. Download it now from the Apple Store or Play Store. In Goats, we trust.
All right, my friends, welcome back to the show. Welcome back. Look, let's get going with our fun fact of the day, brought to you by the Arrington Gavin Show. Today's fun fact is, did you know that the first fashion magazine dates back to 1586? Who would have thought? A French publication called Le Mercure Galant. You see, you ain't know I can speak French. Like, yeah, you know, I can trade up a little bit here and there. That's right. Was one of the first fashion magazines giving style updates to the elite. So, again, for those who are into fashion, you probably were aware of that, or you probably wasn't. I know for those who I'm not a follower of fashion like that. Now, I do got style. Y'all probably looking at me saying, "Aunt, you like a damn fool with your hat curled." Look, mind your business, but I got style. I got style. You know what I mean? You got to coordinate. In the words of the late great John Witherspoon, you got to coordinate. And I tried my best to coordinate with my stuff. I remember when, I go back to golf, and if you would have saw me dressed, the way I came dressing to golf, you would have said, "Oh, this man been golf forever." I can know how to fake it till I make it. And so, so I was dressed up to par. Yeah, the very first magazine was dated back 1586. So that's crazy to me. So fashion was always going on from back then. So that was our fun fact of the day. Let's get it going with some further news. So as much as I'm tired of continuing to talk about it, but it's news that we still have to continue to follow up on, and it is in regards to those damn tariffs, man. Those tariffs have been screwing people over left and right. Let me go ahead and share you this soundbite. This was reported recently in regards to the stock market dropping due to the tariffs. And then also former VP Mike Pence had some words to say in regards to Trump's plans and Trump's tariff. So let me go ahead and find that soundbite for you all, and we'll talk just a little bit, because I won't talk too much, but I want to talk a little bit about this because this is very important. Due to these tariffs, basically what it is that they're taxing countries that we work with, that we're allies with. Because here's the thing, I was talking to one of my friends earlier today. the United States, think of it as a company, as a business, right? It can be a clothing business, it can be a food business, it can be anything. When in order to keep that business afloat, there's certain places that you need to work with in order to get certain resources. Food, for example, restaurants say, okay, our manufacturer, when it comes to this, is in this state or maybe even this country. Clothing stores will say, okay, in order for me to get these suits, in order for me to get these shoes, in order for me, I got to get them from all the way over here because hey, they have great style, they have great this again. You work amongst with folks that you can ally with, cross promote. They scratch your back, you scratch theirs. You win in numbers. As many times I tell you, you win in numbers. It's beneficial to work with other businesses because they're like, hey, look, I have a barber. Okay, I'll use my business example. I have a barber shop. I mean, I have a men's grooming line, right? Men's grooming line, skincare, you name it. There might be a male spa. There might be a barbershop that will say, I would love to work with you. Okay, so let's negotiate. Now, if I raise prices on them, then guess what? Most likely they're going to either not want to do business with me or they're going to say, well, if you want to use my stuff, I'm going to have to raise prices on this too. Same for, for other spots, for restaurants, you name it. Folks will folks have to it has to make profit. It has to be profitable for them in order to make the investment. Now, Trump over here is raising taxes on folks because he's so gun ho on bringing everything back to the United States, right? He hates the fact that we do business with folks in other foreign countries. I don't know why, because they don't disrespect us. They look. They can talk behind the scenes of how many, but at the end of the day, look, we all get along because we're all making money at the end of the day. And so when it comes to our energy, guess what? China's going to be in place for that. When it comes to this and that and the other, like I just don't get it. But anyway, as I digress, him raising taxes on other countries, guess what? It hurts the consumers. So when it comes to grocery prices, when it comes to equipment prices for other small businesses, like I was reading about something, a gentleman owned a bicycle shop and the equipment that he gets from overseas, guess what? They're going to start raising their prices because hey, the United States is taxing us, and we're gonna have to really pick up with us because if we gotta pay more to put it over there, look, we gotta start having some form of profit too. We can't just be looked upon as a bunch of dummies. So now it's gonna hurt the small businesses where it's like, wow, I've been open for these amount of years and they've never raised it to this level. I don't know how I can afford to stay open. Let me go ahead and find the soundbite for you. Let's see here. But once again, I hate to break it to you, the president was never known to be a spectacular businessman. Yes, his name is a brand of itself, and it's like every public figure can always make money off of their name, but that doesn't mean that they're a great business person. There's professional athletes that are awful business people. And you probably say, well, Arrington, if they're making so much money now, why does it make them bad? Because guess what? What's the average retired pro athlete that is very, very successful, probably even more successful than they are while they're in the league? It drops because they don't make smart investments. Now, it's easier for folks like a Tom Brady who has made a career of himself, who signed a bunch of guaranteed contracts before he even retired. Because, I mean, come on, this man signed over $300 million to be a sports analyst for the next 10 years. Whenever he retired, another person I can go back is AI, Allen Iverson. When he turns a certain age, he's going to get around like 50 something million or maybe $45 million from a shoe deal, like one of those lifelong contracts. I mean, it's insane. There was a baseball player that had a deal where on this date every year he gets $1 million. Genius, right? Let me go ahead and play you the soundbite from this was Jonathan Capehart from MSNBC in regards to talking about the tariffs and how it's been plunging the stock market. So let's go ahead and play this right here for you.
Now futures markets are opening, and the Dow futures market has fallen 1,500 points as a result of President Trump's what could be here in the United States tomorrow morning with the New York Stock Exchange opening another bloodbath in America's financial markets.
You know, this is downright scary. This reminds me of March 2020, which, of course, was a result of the pandemic. It also reminds me of September and October of 2008, which was the beginning of the Great Recession. And here we go again. And this, unlike 2020, which obviously was caused by a global pandemic and COVID-19, this is not because of some pandemic. This is not because of some freak storm or some event in nature. This is entirely 100% because of Donald Trump and his policies, that now we are facing a deep recession, that people's 401ks are becoming 201ks just within the last several days and are dropping even further. It is absolute madness.
Dow futures markets are opening.
So let me go ahead and right then and there, the stock market. Now, I don't get involved in stocks, right? But you have seen a huge plummet in so many levels within the stock market that is hurting people's pockets. Now, what I thought this was interesting, former Vice President Mike Pence, who served as the VP under Donald Trump in his first administration, had this to say in regards to Trump's choice on the tariffs. And it's funny because obviously Team MAGA is raging over his comments, and it's like saying, that's why he was never no good, yada yada yada, and this, that, and the other. And they were pissed about it. Mike Pence recently shared on his X platform. He said that the Trump tariffs is the largest peacetime tax hike in U.S. history. These tariffs are nearly 10 times the size of those imposed during the Trump-Pence administration and will cost Americans, families over, check this out, $3,500 per year. Now, I read this article reported by the Daily Beast. It says here that obviously the MAGAverse raised at former VP Mike Pence after he blasted Donald Trump's tariffs in the as I'm not going to repeat myself as far as what I just read earlier, but it says that he wrote it in social media, and that highlighted research from the Advancing American Freedom Foundation says here that increase will easily erase 3 years worth of pay raises for most American families. Recently, Trump, we already know when he had mentioned about the tax paid by U.S. companies will cost typically passed on consumers. Now, the president said he was imposing a baseline 10% tax on imports from all countries, with higher rates of up to 49% applied to products from about 60 countries. Now, according to recent Fox News polls, that 69% of respondents thought tariffs would make the products they buy more expensive. The 69% was right, Pence said in a separate post in response to criticism. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, who over the past few months had reportedly been pushing Trump to impose more and more aggressive tariffs, even as the likelihood of recent grows, accused Pence of being bitter. Now, why would he be so bitter? Is it because during the most horrific January 6th, the most horrific insurrection that we witnessed of our time, they said, hang Mike Pence, hang Pence, hang Pence. Like, I mean, come on now. It was intense. Could that be he was bitter because Trump never, I don't know, looked out for his own fellow man? Let's not remember during the Jimmy Carter funeral when you had Mike Pence and his wife, and Donald Trump comes in, Mike Pence shook Trump's hand. Mike Pence's wife was like, she acted like she did not see him. Ooh, could you feel the tense? Could you feel that heat in the air? It was pretty tense, right? Says here that let's see, lost one place. Republican Senator Bernie Moreno of Ohio told CNN's Caitlin Collins that career politicians like Pence were part of the problem. Okay, let's see what he meant by that. And did nothing for decades while our industrial sector was gutted. Ooh. Hey, I mean, he does have a point in a sense, right? Because career politicians tend to respond to big things at a later time during their some, not all. Now the comments on Pence posts were all full of MAGA diehards. Oh, no kidding. Saying Pence needed to reevaluate his loyalties and asking when he became a Democrat. Oh my gosh. Calling Pence a Democrat is hilarious, by the way. Just like the folks that call um Liz Cheney a Democrat. Like, so whenever they find one thing to agree on, then automatically that makes them a Democrat. Look, Liz Cheney said, "I'm standing for values over party. I'm standing for what's right for the people over party." Did she go on a rant, not rant? Did she go on a tour to help endorse Kamala Harris? Yeah. But here's the thing. In my opinion, I think that wasn't the best route because you have diehard Democrats that are like, we still remember who Liz Cheney is. We still remember what she voted on in the past. The fact that you're automatically buddy with her and not doing so much with folks within your own party, that to me, I look at it as like, okay, the more that they show unity, that benefits. Like, because of Trump, we never would have witnessed the Lincoln Project, right? The first time I've ever seen a group of Republicans endorse a president, a Democratic president for office. So I don't look at that as always a bad thing, but I think it's a cult like response when people say, "Oh, there he was always at this, he was always at that." Come, give me a break. Now, I've publicly said this in conversation. I do believe that you do have folks within parties that they will run as this. They will probably will win as a certain party, like whether it's like a Democrat or Republican. You do have your inside men or women that say, "Hey, look, I won as a Republican, but deep down I'm really Democrat," or "I ran as a Democrat, but I'm really a Republican inside." You know what I mean? Because I say that because nowhere in my mind do I just automatically catch people while in office switching party lines. I've seen a couple people do it in Georgia. Tulsi Gabbard's done it. Now, she wasn't serving in office, but she still done it. She went from Democrat to Republican. Now, I'm all for a Democrat going as independent because to me, I'm like, what makes you think that one party is better than the other? If you have issues with a party, then guess what? Your best bet is just to be as an independent. Like, I never understood that. Like, Republicans becoming Democrats, Democrats becoming Republicans. I personally just think that you might as well just be an independent. Now, when it comes to the business side and the strategy side of it, look, your chances, if you're trying to win and run for office, look, you might have a better chance being endorsed by a party. That's the name of the game. You don't have to like it, but that's just the name of the game. I just think that if you leave one party, the other party ain't gonna be too much better than the other. That's just my 2 cents. But again, going back to these tariffs, they're not helping. You have so many folks continue to criticize, hurting the stock market, hurting folks' pockets. Companies are starting to raise their prices, and again, we will continue to give you all feedback and and see exactly the good that will come to that. I I doubt it, but we will see. Let me digress from that and move it on to another story. This is not in the political realm. This is just in the what the hell did he just say? kind of realm. So one thing that you know about me is I am a man of faith. I'm not always in tune with pastors that you can consider like mega pastors. And what I mean by mega pastors is pastors that have these massive mega churches, well over maybe 20,000. I mean, they basketball stadiums, all right, as churches. I'm not crazy about it, nor am I crazy with the flashiness of ministers and pastors. And we have those that exist in our world that is, they say they're doing it for the Lord, but you catch them doing stuff that really is suspect. When it comes to like this gentleman out of Texas, I don't know if it's Houston, Texas, Dallas, Texas. He's a longtime pastor. His name is Kenneth Copeland. Kenneth Copeland. He recently has said some controversial stuff. And I just wanted to share with you all and be like, okay, what did you assume that he was? He's a famous televangelist, author, musician, public speaker. By the way, I don't think this might matter to you guys, but it's just, again, I go back to, we're talking about a man of the cloth, a pastor. Net worth is $300 million. Pastor now, tax-free, nonprofit work, 300 million. To share some of his controversial moments of why I'm speaking about this individual. Let me see if I can even find that soundbite, because I want to share this soundbite with you all. But let me go ahead and give you this information prior to what I'm about to share. So okay, he's been known to have some controversial moment. My body's so sore. He is pro Donald Trump. He's a huge Donald Trump fan. And has supported him along the way. That's another thing I don't understand with ministers that support Donald Trump. That's in my opinion. But he was known in this prosperity gospel criticism now in a during a movement which teaches that faith can lead to wealth and health. Many Christian leaders, even within the evangelical circle, has criticized this teaching as an unbiblical and exploitative. All right. Then on top of that, his lavish lifestyles, okay, multi luxury homes, including a $6 million mansion, private jets. Guess what? At least 3, including a Gulfstream V, which this was the man that actually was one of the ones that asked for his congregation for another private jet. Private jet. Don't give me that. Oh well, in order to continue to spread the gospel, I need to fly private. I can't fly commercial. I gotta fly first class. I can't fly coach in order to spread the gospel. Majority of the folks that make him a lot of money, guess what? They don't have much. So what do you think? There's some of them might not even can't even afford to fly commercial or coach. They ride the bus. They might have to drive. They might can't even travel without outside their state at all. Yet all of a sudden you get all this flashiness. No, don't get. As I continue, expensive cars, other luxury items. Critics argue that these are funded by donations from his followers. All right, next up, Jet comments and demons. All right, in 2019, Copeland went viral after a video interview where he defended his use of private jets. He said flying commercial would mean getting in a long tube with a bunch of demons, sparking massive criticism for his persuasive disdain for ordinary folks. He's telling you what he thinks of ordinary folks. He's telling you what he thinks of poor, ordinary folks. Y'all demons, y'all beneath me. Yuck, yuck, yuck. Y'all full of sin. Next up, we go to his COVID-19 statements. Okay, so he declared COVID-19 finished in March of 2020 by blowing the wind of God at it during a televised service. He said followers should continue tithing even if they lost their jobs. Claimed he had destroyed the virus by commanding it to leave. Here's the thing, y'all. I am no minister. I'm no expert. I am a man of faith. I believe in God and God only. That's how I was raised, but that's how my heart has always followed too. I will say this. I am a realist. I disagree with some folks that will say, okay, look, I'm getting this new home tomorrow. Oh, that's great. I'm putting it in God's hands. Even though if I might not have the money for it, I'm gonna put it in God's hands. Or I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna put it in God's. Look, I am all for there's a power in prayer. I'm all for that. But sometimes you just have to make realistic and smart decisions on certain things, because there's a lot of folks that will do that and they will just say, well, I'm putting it in his hand. I got this. I'm fine. Like, that's just me. That's just me. And I think sometimes when they do that and they find themselves in a pickle, more debt, more this, more that, it doesn't help. And that's all I'm saying, y'all. I'm not saying to stop praying, to stop believing, to stop pursuing. All I'm saying is that you also do have to have some form of realism when this guy says, hey, look, I blew out COVID, it's permanently gone. He's not God, for one. Okay, he is not God. This pastor is not God. So for those that had believed in him at that time, were already careless enough. And that's the sad part. You have a lot of leaders within ministry that take advantage of the vulnerable, and they make millions off of it. And it's very, very, very unfortunate. And a lot of those, I'm sorry, that believe that Trump is the almighty savior, that he's the best president of all times. That myself is laughable. If you can't recall that time when Donald Trump held the Bible, the man didn't even know how to hold the Bible. He held the Bible like he was holding a dang on baton or a trophy, or just saying high five. It was so hilarious. And before he had held that Bible, you know what he did? He said he had a barricade of security and law enforcement to pepper spray and gas a lot of folks during protests. Come on, it's insane. It is truly, truly insane. Lastly, one of the criticism known for with Copeland. Well, actually, let me play you the soundbite, and then I'll share some other controversial moments about this guy. So hold tight right there as I bring up this soundbite. Now, I stand corrected. In 2021, my brother had 750 million. He was referred to as the wealthiest pastor in America. Wealthiest pastor in America was 750 million. As like I said, as of 2024, he has 300 million. Oh, wow. Broke. He broke.
Convinced he's ebony black.
Hold on. Let me share that for you again. I'm having some technical difficulties with that clip. Let me go ahead and recap that for you, y'all, because I want to make sure that y'all fully hear what this gentleman had to say.
I'm convinced he was ebony black and gorgeous. Have you ever seen yourself and the grain? And he had musical instruments built within him. Everything but the Phil Driscoll let me know that for sure. Now, completely convinced he's ebony black. Why?
Well, we're having technical difficulties. Well, I don't know if y'all heard a little bit about that. So the pastor was saying that in his mind, the devil is ebony black. He says it can't be this, it can't be that. He is an ebony black and he's gorgeous, right? And so a lot of folks have said, he's already been known for saying some wild stuff. Is he trying to say like the devil is gorgeous ebony black like the black man? And folks in the comment section are like, hold up. Y'all going after Marvin Sapp for saying close the doors, talking about contribute this amount, that amount, but have we can we call a spade a spade? Can we keep the same amount of momentum to this brother here? You know, it's a site that I follow called Larry Reed Live, right? He shows a lot of great content, especially the stuff that occurs within the church. And he had said, if Kenneth Copeland thinks the devil is black, then what color do you think he thinks God is? What color do you think Copeland thinks Jesus was? What done told y'all Western Christianity was and is the white European invented tool of colonization? Woo. Y'all hitting another nerd. Y'all hitting another stuff right there. That's going to be a whole nother conversation. And the sad part is, I'll be honest, this guy's already a controversial figure. He's 88 years old, still preaching, which is, I'm sorry, when you get a little older, you start talking a little bit of that mess. You start talking out your head. And not saying it's age that's affecting this, because like I said, he's been controversial since day one. That's how he makes a living. But the sad thing is, y'all, again, we're in new times where people do not care what they have to say. People are so bold to say what their true feelings and thoughts are. And it's extremely unfortunate. As I continue on by reading some controversial things about this guy, says here that his ministries, Kenneth Copeland Ministries, has been criticized for lack of financial transparency. In 2007, a U.S. Senator Chuck Grassley launched an investigation into several televangelist finances, including Copeland. Of course, it said his ministries refuse to fully cooperate. And then I go back to his political stances. Copeland has been openly political, supporting Donald Trump and appearing at Trump campaign events. Someone saw this as a blurring the line between religion and politics, raising concerns about the tax-exempt status of his ministry. Keyword, tax-exempt. Now, I'm not against bringing in the inclusion of politics into the church, because ministers, especially you have a church that's within a neighborhood, you're a part of the community. You're a community leader. You're not just a pastor, but you are a community leader. You hold functions when it comes to giving back to the community. You might be a form of shelter to people in homeless, a soup kitchen. They are community leaders, so you always should be involved in the local political realm of things. So I'm not against the whole politics and church or religion, being involved in one. Excuse me. Let's go ahead, my friends. Let's take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll have a lot more of the Arrington Gavin Show for you. Do not go anywhere. We'll be right back after these commercial breaks.
Become a man of distinction with Rugged Evolution Beard Care. Order our scented beard oils and beard balms to help you maintain and grow the perfect beard. Order today. Try our men's care products like the full body exfoliating cleansing bars, body wash, smooth stash, and more. Log on to our website or download our app to place your orders. Rugged Evolution Beard Care. We're your luxury but affordable men's care line. And remember,
rugged is the new smooth.
All right, my friends, welcome back to the show. Welcome back. What do we have next up for you all? Let's talk about this, huh? Let's talk about Terrence Howard. Terrence Howard. Y'all know who Terrence Howard is? Terrence Howard is a successful actor, I will say. I won't say he's one of my favorites, but usually if there's a project that he's involved in, I'm like, oh, it's probably most likely going to be good. He's a great actor. A lot of projects that he's in. You know, we know him from Hustle and Flow, Empire, Best Man series. He had a stint in Iron Man. What else? Other projects has he done? He's done so many. Lackawanna Blues. That's a classic that a lot of people are unfamiliar with. Lackawanna Blues. So many great stuff. Lately, Terrence has been kind of like, I'm not gonna say MIA, but he's been kind of like back and forth with Hollywood, right? There was at one point where he was fully retired from Hollywood, saying he's done with it, and then all of a sudden he came back to do like one or two films. He did a project with Kevin Hart, Samuel Jackson, Taraji P. Henson, Don Chino. I'm forgetting the name of it. I'm sorry. I know it's on Peacock. I haven't actually checked it out yet, but he was in that. But prior to that, he was explaining how he's owed so much money from the Empire series, and which I would say Empire really beefed up his career, because Empire was, I think it lasted like 5-6 seasons, and it was so good. It was almost like a music mob based show, and him as well as Taraji P were the premier stars. They were the leading stars of that film. And so he's been out and about speaking on how basically the world is unfair. Hollywood's unfair. He's been going on different podcasts, influential podcasts. Joe Rogan, he was on there, and now he recently was on Patrick Bet David's podcast, PBD podcast, who is known to have influential folks from the world of politics, sports, you name it. He goes by an independent, but he's a right-leaning independent, in my opinion. He's a successful man in Florida. Obviously, you love you some Trump. Let's just be honest. So, going back to Patrick Bet Davidson. Oh my gosh, I'm trying to hold on to my notes here. Actor Terrence Howard has some interesting had an interesting story to share about his encounter with P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Sean Diddy Combs, who is currently been in jail waiting trial for charges of a lot of stuff. I can't even say it. I mean, sexual assault, sex trafficking, it's so much stuff that's been occurring. Let me play you just a little bit of the episode from the PPD podcast where Terrence Howard was a guest on, and then we'll talk a little bit about on the other end.
And when you give up your manhood, I've never seen somebody recover from it. That was all the people that went to the puffy parties. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they were doing. Get punked out and pimped out by some greater desire. You should have a greater desire than being a man. So I believe that's a big problem with a lot of the actors out there, because they get fluid. And next thing you know, once you go fluid, it's gone. You don't have any foundation to pull yourself back from. So maintain your man card, no matter what.
Man, I mean, one of the things you're seeing, you went to a whole different place.
Sorry.
No, I get it. So you see some guys struggling with that. You see Bieber struggling with that. You see some of these guys struggling with that.
They can't get it out of their head. They can't get it out of their head. The things that they did, no matter how they did it, whether they were drunk or high or whatever, you gave up your man card. You need therapy. And that's the thing that hurts them the most. And so they end up on drugs, end up every way to try and get rid of any principles there are. And that's what the business does. And the women that trade their bodies to go and get the role, they get to the point where they have their Oscar, they have their money, but they don't have their dream. They don't have the soul that they started with. So it's like achieving don't mean anything. If I get all the Nobel Prizes from doing all of this, but in the process, I have to trade out all of my integrity to do it so that they can stay in place, what benefit is that if I lose my integrity? You got to go in as a principal. And what we were brought in here as men. We produce 1,500 sperm per heartbeat for a reason, because the aggression is necessary. You don't trade that in, no matter what.
Did you ever have the opportunity where you got invited and you said no to it?
Hell yeah.
What was the consequences when you said no?
Puffy invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while.
So the reason why I paused that, y'all, is because later on in the clip he shares some words that I don't think will be allowed here for on this platform as far as wording. Look, I like staying on the platforms that I'm on. Shout out to WDJY 99.1 FM, Straight Talk out the Metro Atlanta area. Our friends, our radio affiliate friends in the Metro Atlanta area, as well as various podcast platforms. Look, what Terrence Howard is implying is the fact that the Hollywood business sucks. The Hollywood business is full of scandals and selling your soul to the devil, in quotations, kind of thing. And in order to get these roles, you got to give us a little something. He's saying, look, men have sold their stuff in order to get some form of benefit, right? You lose your man card. It's based on principle. I don't know what role Terrence is starting to play now. I'm no member of the Hollywood scene, the Hollywood elite. I'm no actor. I'm none of that stuff. Do I think he's lying? Not all the way, right? I just think that stuff like that exists in our world, but I don't think that's the majority of Hollywood. And I think that people use a small portion and throw it up into a larger entity to have personal gain, right? Like, for example, you're getting interviewed to talk about you. Like, why are you using your moment to say, I'm ready to talk about the industry that made money for me all through my life? Like, me personally, I was like, there's stuff that you just need to let folks talk about their own things. Do not bring up the fact that you can say, hey, look, it's a hard industry. You can say, oh, if you ask me the question, does this it? I'm like, oh, it happens, but it's not the majority. It probably does, but I just don't know. I don't know. I feel like folks now are trying to make careers off of being so controversial, because controversial is a money grabber. I mean, Cat Williams made tons of money off of his Club Shay Shay interview. Shannon Sharp made a ton of money off of that Cat Williams interview. Now it hasn't financially benefited, in my opinion, for Monique, but it's like that's all she wants to talk about. That's all she wants to talk about. And so Terrence Howard, you don't see Terrence on a lot of stuff. Could he be responding with that as an anger tactic, saying, oh, well, because they haven't paid me this, or because they haven't called me for this, I'm good, I'm ready to tell it all. I'm ready to tell it all. And he's always been that earthy kind of, well, man, I'm it ain't right. You need to, it's all about principle. Like, I remember years back when he criticized Jamie Foxx as far as an artist, like as a music artist. And it's like, I remember Jamie Foxx like, well, after your record went not platinum, but it went plastic. I'm like, whoa, like, Terrence is interesting. He's an interesting guy. That's all I will say. He's a very interesting person. And of course, out of all the stories, that man never asked you, have you had moments like that? He just automatically brought up, well, there was an occasion, and I'll explain what I paused at. He said it was an occasion where he was supposed to be teaching Diddy how to be an actor, like giving Diddy acting lessons. And so there were moments, he said, I'll be in the room with Diddy and he's just staring at me. He's no this, no that. and it was awkward moments. And then he said his people or his assistant had asked, say they wanted to schedule another thing with him. He's like, okay, but Terrence was a bit alarmed on the way Diddy was acting. So Terrence basically said like, I think Diddy's trying to bang me. I think he's trying to do that. And I'm like, whoa, whoa, that is a lot. And could he be telling the truth? We really don't know. There's the truth, and then there's the lies. There's the truth, and there's not the truth. I feel as though Diddy's in such a place right now where it's easy to say this and that happened. And again, I'm not trying to defend no person that's on trial like Diddy. I don't know him from a can of paint, nor do I know Terrence Howard from a can of paint. But I'm just saying, like, so many folks, are using him within a conversation and are using to profit off him and stuff. And it's just like, I don't know who to believe at this point, right? And so I'm looking at my time. I got about less than 3 minutes. He says he recounted the alleged interaction during the April. He acknowledged the interaction while on the platform as a guest. He detailed that he had invited me for weeks, asking me to come teach him how to or wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. However, during the supposed lessons, lessons with S, so he continued to go back. Combs allegedly just sat and stared at the star, and he noted that unusual behavior, but continued to hang out with Diddy. Once again, you noticed the weirdness, but you continued. Think about it. Go there, and he's sitting around looking and remember. I'm like, okay, what material you want to work on? He just started looking at me. And then he went on to say Combs then asked to listen to Howard's music, but had no response to it, with Howard recalling him just sitting there. After his assistant informed him that Diddy wished to hang out again the following weekend, the odds encounters led Howard to question his assistant about Combs' intentions, and the assistant reportedly stated their belief of Bad Boys record founder more ulterior motives for those meetups. So again, you just don't ever know. You just don't know nowadays, man. But let me go ahead, my friends, because I'm looking at my time, and obviously the time is always against us. We'll continue to follow up a little more with this story. I will talk more about it on our social media platforms. Be sure to continue to tune into the Arrington Gavin show, available on all digital and streaming platforms. Thank you so much, my friends, for tuning in. Download the GOATverse TV app. It's free, available on the App Store, Google Play Store, Roku, and Amazon Fire. You can listen to us on all major podcast platforms, as well as on WDJY 99.1 FM Straight Talk, Monday through Fridays at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time out of the Metro Atlanta area. Thank you so much. Peace and blessings. I'll talk to y'all soon.